working conditions giving rise to a strike notice. Service quality for members and European citizens is at risk. As a result of this labour dispute, we regret to inform you that the interpreting service will stop at 12:10, precisely as scheduled.
Bonjour à tous.
So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this press conference from the S&D Group with the president of the group, Mr. Udo Bullmann. Mr. Bullmann will be giving some comments on the key items on the plenary agenda, and then we'll take some questions. So I will give him the floor straight away.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for your interest. A matter of fact, we lost some minutes already, so let me speed up. You saw this morning in the general debate for the forthcoming European Council that my group, the Socialists and Democrats, will not give in on the issue of rescue of refugees in the Mediterranean, will not give in on migration, and will not give in on the Dublin reform as requested by this House in last October in the first reading, and we will not allow the Council to get away without raising this issue, because this is indeed a matter of life and death. And what we do is we don't ask anymore. We request Mr. Tusk to put it on the agenda of this council. I put this in the focus of my conversation this morning in the plenary. I think Salvini should question himself whether his values are the right ones to demonstrate strength, what he thinks is strength, at the expense of pregnant women and of children. I praise the new government in Spain because Pedro Sanchez took a very bold position. You can feel the fresh wind coming from Madrid, and I could congratulate all political forces supporting the new government, because that is inspiring for the whole European Union and puts, again, grace to the European Union where it failed so often in the recent years. So that has to be a focus point of the debate in the Council, which doesn't go away until we have a real European solution on that. We saw today news from Mr. Kim and Mr. Trump. They shook hands for 13 seconds. Hopefully that is a good message. We would welcome it. Let's wait and see the tweets over the day, because you never know exactly what is going to happen afterwards. But in the case that we could achieve something on Korea, of course, the whole European Union, my party group, the Socialists and Democrats, would very much welcome that. But besides that, we are where we are. The US withdrew on the climate agreement. The US withdrew on the Iran agreement with consequences that cannot be overseen from today. You saw the ridiculous behavior on the G7. So there is only one message to be brought across by the European leaders, and that message is: get your act together. If you do not stand united now, when would you like to start with this kind of exercise against the backdrop of international imbalances, endangering informations and shrinking alliances on the transatlantic tradition, which is for the first time in such a way evident, and of course alarming to all rational players in the European Union. We have to speak seriously about the future of the European Union, also because the amount of irrationality is increasing also in traditional pro-European countries. I already this morning pointed out to incoming Mr. Kurz and my worries about his alliances with Orban. For me, these days are days of clarification. The PPE, especially those branches fighting their case in Bavaria for the land election in Hessen, has to clarify their relationship to Mr. Orban. The PPE as a party group has to clarify its relationship to Mr. Orban and his policies. And as far as I am informed, more and more people within the PPE are alarmed about this Mesalliance and the question behind the politics of a PPE member, a prominent PPE member. We will see Mr. Rutte this week. Mr. Rutte is not a member of the PPE family. Mr. Rutte is a member of the Liberal family, and also to him applies the same story. It's a question of clarification. Who are you? Where do you want to go? What are your decisive answers where you would like to plan to develop the European Union towards? Sometimes I hear he is asking Orban to come closer to the general line on migration. Sometimes I hear he is backing Orban, so he has to undergo a process of clarification with his government as well. He has to clarify to us when we speak to him, yes, is the Netherlands still a traditional supporter and defender of the rule of law, what we would appreciate. Then they have to be firm on Poland, which is a question mark that will be raised during the debate this week as well. And perhaps they also should close down their national financial centers of tax avoidance. That would also be helpful in the defense of the rule of law. That will be question marks to Mr. Rutte. And in the Poland debate, that is my third topic I would like to point out to. In the Poland debate, again, we will ask the PPE, are you already backing off Article 7 procedures? Are you already playing party politics with the PiS government? Is that your interest to undermine the Commission's position, which was executed by Franz Timmermans during the last years, to be strict on the rule of law and the respect of our European values in the best interest of the Polish society, or what kind of games are you playing? So this is the variety of issues I would like to indicate to you, being for me most relevant for this week. And now, of course, I stand ready for your comments and questions. Thanks very much.
Any questions? Please give your name and the media you work for.
David Carretta, Radio Radicale, Italian Radio. I have a question on the decision by Prime Minister Sanchez on Aquarius. Don't you think that at the end of the day, this decision will push Mr. Salvini to blackmail again other governments, in the sense that he will just say, we don't accept migrants in Italy rescued by NGOs, and they have to take care others, Spanish, French, and so on. Thank you.
Yes, of course, to my understanding, he did already. That was the tweet by Salvini when he said, look at what the Spanish did, victory. Again, I would like to quote myself, how poor can you get if this is your only reaction? We need examples of good European exercises. Drawing back to the last years, it was a good exercise by the Portuguese government, one of the few saying, Antonio Costa, bring the people to us because we have space in our country. There were not so many saying that. And if the new Spanish government, in this situation, this historical situation, where many, many leaders shy away from taking a next collective step of solving the problem, is bold enough, is courageous enough to stand up and to say, this is not my way, this is not my political culture, this is not my European way, I go a different way, and I suggest to my people a different spirit of how to solve the problem collectively, which is duly accordance with the treaty, Article 80, I quoted it this morning, responsibility and solidarity are basic principles of our migration policy. And Council forget about it, but Mr. Sanchez obviously not. And this is the benchmark where we have to measure the quality and the values of the new Italian government. I very frankly admitted more than once, also in this room, that I know that Italy and the Social Democratic government took a lion's share of the responsibility. And I accused other governments to having let them alone. So I'm fair with the Italian share, but this does not justify an ignorant political right-wing outpost as Salvini to try to do his ridiculous exercises at the expense of human lives.
D'autres questions? Oui.
Any further questions? Yeah.
Hello, this is Federica Bianchi from L'Espresso. I have a question, a follow-up to the answer of Mr. Bullman. So far, don't you think that solidarity, which is a value of the European Union according to the treaty, but shouldn't it become institutionalized, which is still very difficult? Shouldn't be? Are you sure it should be left to the bon cœur of the minister in Spain or in Portugal or in Italy or in one of the Mediterranean countries, or shouldn't instead be done much more to push the Council to act and make decisions? I mean, there was today a proposal by Mr. Verhofstadt that was actually also supported by Barbara Spinelli. And what is your take on that in making the Council responsible for inaction so far?
I think you are totally right by saying solidarity and responsibility cannot mean only to be ready for case-by-case solutions in a spontaneous manner, as it was now indicated by Pedro Sanchez. No, we have to come to structural solutions. And I requested that this morning as well. And this is the very reason why I say Tusk has to put it on the agenda for the next council meeting. And structural solutions also mean that we have an organized burden sharing, not a case by case, a structural burden sharing, a new pact on solidarity, on migration, that includes also the relative positions, economic position, labor market position of the respective countries involved. But nothing but this was the proposal by the Commission longer and longer ago. So we would like to give a fresh push, a fresh approach to this political initiative. We need a new discourse, East-West, in this respect as well. And the Verhofstadt proposal was to sue them. Okay, this is what you mean, to put them to court and to indicate that we are not satisfied with the way in which the European Council as an institution deals with that. I am in full sympathy of that, because I think that this is the right conclusion of what we have politically discussed. The idea of today is to put pressure on Mr. Tusk to come closer to his legal obligations and to, for the last time, call upon the heads of state and government to do their duties. Why not? Other steps could follow.
D'autres questions?
Any further questions?
Consuelo Ascanius, just on the same issue, I didn't understand, are you going to discuss in the group the possibility to go to court against the Council for inaction, failure to action, as Mr. Verhofstadt was suggesting? And the second question, if I may, the fact that the Council is blocked on the reform of Dublin is due to the idea that they should go on with consensus, unanimity, and it is clear that there's no way out there. So, are you going to push the socialist governments to ask the decision by qualified majority as the treaty foresees in this case? Are you going to push for that? Are you going to ask the Commission? Because it's the Commission also that is accepting this game, go for the unanimity. They have said, yeah, we tried unanimity. I mean, is it not time to understand, to take the decision by qualified majority to decide that?
Look, today we said this is our last request on the Council to go to action and to not be silent and sleepy on this enormous challenge. We do not accept anymore any postponements. This is what I declared this morning. And all other possible actions can be taken later. Now the pressure is on Tusk to deliver and to put it on the agenda. You say the Council is blocked. How can you be blocked on the matter of survival of tomorrow morning? How can you be ignorant on the wave of problems that the European Union has in front of itself without providing for appropriate answers? This was the political Verhofstadt point. Do we allow them politically to say, oh, sorry, we are blocked. What can we do? Go for vacation, we are blocked. This is a no-go for the European Parliament, at least for the progressives and the Socialists and Democrats in our situation. No, we do not accept a position saying, guys, forgive me, we are going for vacation, we are blocked. No, we don't accept this anymore, because this is one of the reasons why people die. This is one of the reasons why people do not understand a European Union that does not deliver. And this is one of the reasons why you have right-wing populists, as an echo of which you then even more blocked than before. So this circle has to be disrupted. This circle has to be destroyed. And that was my very reason to welcome Pedro Sanchez, because he sent out a signal that we can disrupt this negative circle of giving no answers. And in this spirit, we would like to move forward. If they do not deliver, then we will have a new debate.
Je vois une autre question par ici.
Daniel Brössler, Süddeutsche Zeitung. Wenn Sie sagen, Sie akzeptieren es nicht, dass der Rat sagt, er ist blockiert, was heißt das, Sie akzeptieren es nicht? Was ist die praktische Folge?
Es wird den Druck erhöhen auf die Staats- und Regierungschefs, die sich damit zufrieden geben. Das gilt im Übrigen auch auf Herrn Kurz und Frau Merkel. Es ist nicht hinreichend, ich habe das versucht deutlich zu machen in meiner Aussage, für die parteipolitischen Familien ist auch Zeit, sich zu entscheiden. Ich akzeptiere nicht mehr, dass ein Herr Verhofstadt für die Liberalen das größere Budget fordert und Herr Rutte es verhindert. Es kann nicht mehr sein, dass wir We don't have translation anymore? Forgive me, then I switch back into English. Oh, no, that's fine, that's fine. The question was, of the colleague was, what does it practically mean if you say you do not accept it anymore? And this is what I tried to, forgive me for German, what I tried to elaborate a bit on. The political families have to clarify where they are and where they stay and what they would like to say. So I was going on the Liberals. It's totally unacceptable if my good colleague Guy Verhofstadt is rightly claiming for a bigger budget, and that on the other hand Mr. Rutte is saying only about over my dead body. We have a similar situation in the PPE, where we have Madame Merkel giving nice speeches sometimes, arguing for balances here and for balances there, and then they are best friends of Mr. Kurz, who is blocking each and any solution in the migration question, and the guy is again best buddy with Orban, who is celebrating a xenophobian campaign back home to organize his re-election. This hypocrisy, this bilinguality, where we tell different things back home than we tell here, that we going different lines in the European discourse in Brussels and Strasbourg, as well as in the capitals afterwards, has to be clarified. If people should invest trust in the European Union, if we would like to regain ground of the ordinary people, if people should say, no, the right-wing populists have no answers, they are carrying the ideologies of yesterday and the day before, but not the answers for tomorrow, then we have to be clear, and we have to be instructive, and we have to be concrete in our ideas and our plans, and we have to fight for it. My group is ready to fight for it.
Une dernière question. Allez-y.
Thank you. Tamás Kugyela from Index Hungary. You also said that the EPP group and the Dutch Prime Minister has to clarify their position about Mr. Orbán. What do you think would be the right way of clarification in this sense?
Well, we should watch out for two positions. You have the Poland debate this week. Yesterday, I can remember that the progressives and the pro-Europeans, also the conservatives, of the House were united in a position which was elaborated by First Vice President Franz Timmermans in being tough on European values and being tough on the clarification of judiciary critical issues in Poland. Let's see what they are going to do tomorrow. Yeah? Is there political games going on with the PiS government? Is there political games going on with the Polish government? I would like to see that. This is one point of clarification. The other point of clarification is, yes, Orbán is the outpost in the PPE family of being xenophobian, of being anti any migration discourse, of blocking any solution which come, Article 80, to fulfill solidarity and responsibility according to the European Treaty. And we have to politically discuss this. And if this is your vice president in the People's Party, okay, you have to, there is need for internal debate. But you do not sell us permanently 5 different messages. This is not what we go for. Yeah? And you can clarify that in the European Parliament, you can clarify that in the German Bundestag, you can clarify that in the Bavarian campaign back home. Clarify it, as well as Vienna has to clarify its stance on that. But don't lie to the people that you are searching for solutions and you don't do it. So this is the issue we will put at stake.
Bon, je ne vois plus de questions. Merci à tous et bonne journée.